it seemed important to me at the time to try to hand make as much as I possibly can to get people to ask those questions. Like, how did you make this? I have a business. I want to know how to make that. And I'm like, oh, sure. Yeah. These are all the steps I did. There is no point in gatekeeping because
Amen.
No idea is original idea.
Amen. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So do you have your you have your skincare? Am I saying that right? Do you have your booth at your market?
I do, yeah. So I try to keep it more about the other vendors, but I do bring my products. I set up a table and I also run the farm stand that we do. It's called a garden stand, but I run that as well. But I always encourage if there is like a farmer because a lot of them aren't available on Sunday, which is totally understandable, which is why I'll go and, like just help them out directly, bring the products in.
All right, welcome back to the Dino Service Bros podcast with Dino Service Pros. I got Mike here and Aungie. Aungie's our special guest today. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
I'm super happy to be here.
I love it. So a big part of our company, even though we're a trades company, is supporting the community in any way we can. And so we thought this would be a great way to highlight other local small business vendors, whatever it is in the community, learn more about you. And so that's what we're here to do today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, yeah. So I started a small business. It's a body care company. Work with a lot of local herbs, what we can get locally and just grow. And there's a lot of demand for actually doing a Sunday market. Just something like family oriented, something where, keep kids out of trouble, things like that. And we made it where a lot of smaller businesses and up and coming businesses, real micro businesses, can kind of get their feet wet and like doing markets. Well, I just asked the community, like, hey guys, like, what do you guys think about us doing something like this? And there was so much interest in that. So I started a group and started chatting it up with everyone, honestly, one-on-one. And there was a lot of good feedback that we just started it. It was 3 weeks and we were booming. We're already, St. George Academy reached out and they were like, hey, we've worked with you in the past at our events. We would love to have you come out and do it at, here in FS Coffee. I was chatting it up with them and they were like, hey, yeah, heck yeah, come down and do your market here the following week. And, like it was just kept going. And, we're getting vendors looking like, oh, what's the schedule? Like, what's the, the next thing and the next thing. And I was like, guys, this is really cool. I was telling them like, you guys, this is really cool how much interest you have in this and how quickly you had this growing. So yeah, I've just been honestly meeting the community and growing with the community. And it all started with just like a body care company and an idea. I love making soap and I just wanted everyone to see that. And then I was seeing other people doing their thing and I wanted people to see that too. And that's what got me to this point, honestly.
And it's called Southern Utah Funday Market, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah, it's a Southern Utah Funday Market, and it's oriented around a farmer's market. Just while we have farmer's markets in seasons right now, we work with Graff Garden up in Santa Clara, and they do a lot of the produce that we do while the season's well for that. And, any other... Hurricane is a good place to get produce as well. The Spin Love Market farmer situation over there is really cool. I've met Annie. She's nice.
See, this is so cool because you go to farmers markets, but I'm always like, who does these? Who puts them on? So it's cool meeting the person behind it. Yeah. And it's cool that it just you just started talking to people and it organically grew into a need the community had. So you made it happen.
Yeah. Honestly, like people are really open to conversation, especially when you can be more open-minded with anyone's like intellect or thoughts or just like interests. Like I love talking to people. Like that's just my thing. So I wasn't going to stop. And I was just like, hey, by the way, we have this market. And they're like, well, I've never heard of that. And so they're joining the group. And I think within like 2 months, we had like 600, almost 600 people in the group, just
Wow.
like actively talking and chatting and interested and, following the progress of it. And like, I let them know like every week or so, like, hey guys, we got new people. By the way, thank you for being here. Like, thanks for supporting these guys. Like, there's so many small businesses out there that are just like, I just want to see what my products do for the community. And I'm like, come on.
Yes, you created that outlet.
Yeah, look, come show them. We have a segment for children vendors, like kid vendors.
Oh, cool.
And they can come out and they just, there's like, we set up a whole tent for them. They can bring their products. And some of these kids are like top notch. Let me tell you, like they have like logos and business flyers. And I'm like, okay, kids, like, so they're coming out, they're setting up, we'll set up a tent for them and all of that. Like they can have their own, they can do their own, but I love it to see them all together because they're like chatting and little kid networking and, seeing all that. It's really cool.
That's interesting because growing up, I was always interested in business, but you didn't really have an outlet for it. At least back in the day, there wasn't. Or you weren't taken seriously. No one really supported you in that effort. It was like, oh, you want to do a bake sale? Cool. Or a lemonade stand? Great.
Who does?
Go do it.
Older ladies loved doing that. They loved your lemonade stand. They loved your handmade toys, or they loved it. They'd always buy your paintings. Like older ladies, like everybody's grandma would always, and the way that I grew up, my mom was super entrepreneurial. She still is top notch. And I was actually talking to her on the way here, but top notch. But she was always just like, if you work really hard, I'm sure you'll be successful. But I'm going to make sure you're successful because I'm going to be successful so you have something to look up to. And I was like, okay, Mom. Yeah.
Dang, that's cool.
Let's do that.
That usually, because like with my parents, it was completely opposite. They worked a typical job, had their 401k. And so that was the direction they had pushed me in. But I had always been the black sheep, if you will. And so I always knew I wanted to go out and do something on my own. So at 24, I started my first business because that was like the time I mustered up the courage to go out on my own,
Right.
And that's a scary, like it's a scary thing to try to support yourself in that sense. And I know you feel the same because we've talked about this before.
Do I?
I think.
Yeah. Because I can remember growing up and my dad worked, sun up, sundown, always working. Then he was a bishop in the church and then the bishopric. And so we never saw him. I mean, he was always gone. And parts of me feel that even when he was out doing, church stuff, he was working. So my dad worked all the time. And so when I got into the plumbing side, I was in 18. So I was working on that, and it was nice because I get to go out. It's more of a meet people, get to know them, and you almost feel like you're self-employed.
Yeah.
Even if you're working for someone, because they give you an address, you go.
Yeah.
You're in charge. No one else is there. So the next step from there is to have your own business.
Yeah.
I mean, I waited. I've done it 3 or 4 times, different locations,
But you did it.
Yeah, that's success.
Well, this one I'm doing. Yeah. The others didn't quite do it.
That's okay. So are you from the area?
I'm actually from California. I came out here to live in Cedar City.
More of us. Well, I guess you lived there once.
We don't talk about this. This is St. George.
We're assimilating. Let us disappear into the crowd.
The last thing you say is you're from California. You say, oh, I was born in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah. I'm from Salt Lake.
Yeah. Where'd you come from? Well, I was up in Draper.
Yeah.
So where?
You have to move twice so you can say you're from somewhere else.
I did come from Cedar City.
Yeah, see, there we go. So where in California did you come from?
I was in Southern California near like Orange County.
Okay. I grew up in Santa Clarita.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been here 14 years now.
Yeah.
How long you been here?
Now,
yeah. About the same?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I came here for college and then I came here really young actually. I came out like 17. And I loved Cedar City. It was just like I don't know. It was just like, all four seasons. And in California, sometimes you don't get that.
No.
No.
Yeah, not at all.
Or
So
here, you don't get all 4 seasons here.
I could drive 45 minutes.
yeah,
It's
you could find it here in California. You have to. It's a mission.
Yeah.
So did you go to Southern Utah University?
I went to SUU.
Nice.
I actually went there for graphic design, and I got my bachelor's, and yeah, then I just somehow stumbled over here. I was just, being nosy, and I just never
Talking
left.
to people. And yeah.
Yeah,
It
there we
just-
go.
That continued.
Actually, I went on like a random Vegas road trip. I went on a date. I know you're not supposed to just like randomly go on a road trip on the first date. I got married, so it's fine. Not the same time.
That was my next question.
And I went on a random Vegas road trip. We were out there for like a day or two, and I just never left St. George after that. I graduated, and I was like, "Hey, I got my degree. Bye."
Oh, that's so cool.
My mom was really hoping I was coming back to California, and I was like, "Listen, I met this guy," and she's just like rolling her eyes.
So it's funny you say that because I had intentions to move back to California, and then I met my wife here, and here we are. 14 years later, we're here.
It's the endless cycle.
Yeah. So the road trip, the guy you're on the road trip with, is that who you married?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It is. It is because that could be scary.
Yeah.
But we made it fun.
You're in Vegas, so you going to go out with me again? Because if not, I'm not taking you back.
Yeah. I'll leave you here. Oh, that's messed
Hey, we
up.
took my car.
Nice, smart.
Yeah,
So
no.
you pre-planned it. Yeah.
No, I made sure the GPS was. No, I'm just kidding.
Send your locations to all your friends.
Right?
Yeah.
My little college self, like, hey guys, I'm going on a road trip with this random guy I met on the internet. They were like, wait, what?
So does your husband do this with you?
Yes, actually, he does. He helps with our like websites and some of our like networking and like emails and those kinds of things.
Awesome. So it's a family affair.
Mm-hmm.
So-
I do like that idea of family.
Do you do the market at different places all the time?
Yeah, so it's an opportunity to give awareness to different businesses. So we try to, like next market is August 11th, and it's at Maharaja. The following one is at FS Coffee, and then we're back at Maharaja the week after. And I actually felt like Maharaja was like such a good pick because they had a business before called Turmeric. And oh my goodness, their food was so good that like even the picky eaters were eating it, And I found out that they were the same business, and I was like, whoa. So I like went and tried their food out, and I was like making sure, it's the same. And then I was talking with the owner, and I was like, hey, we'd love to come and do a market at your business because he just started doing his business on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
And he had his little notepad. He was really cool. And his wife came out and we were chatting it up, and we decided like, yeah, let's bring the market to Maharaja. It's right on the boulevard, so it's easy for people to see and bring awareness to the fact that they're opening up their business on Sundays. And then we have a little Sunday market. And I just think it's great to like move us to where eventually we'll have to have like a final position, like a place. But I really like the idea of right now where we just like give awareness to each business that maybe people don't know are open on Sunday, or, people just kind of forgot about. And I think that that's just a continued networking opportunity for kind of everyone. Just everyone comes out here, they're from California or whatever,
or whatever.
or Ohio. Yeah. Or Michigan, I don't know. But, they come out here and they're just like, oh, there's nothing to do on Sundays. And we're trying to let them know.
It's so cool that you do this on Sundays because there isn't anything to do on Sundays.
No.
Yeah, and it can lead to some pretty unproductive behavior. So, and boredom and, because not everyone, has the same path. So when you don't have the same path and people feel a bit pathless, it's just a good opportunity to say, hey, well, we're doing, a painting class on Sunday, or we're doing a crocheting class, or we're like, we have this really cool guy, he's a knife maker. And the guys basically come and drop their wives off at the market, ditch them, and go hang out at the knife. Like even my husband and the other vendor woman's husband just like ditch us and then go hang out with this knife guy. His name's Brandon Pricer, super cool guy. They'll just go hang out with this guy. He's from Alaska.
Oh, wow.
And he came out here and he's like, oh, wow, this is so cool. You know, he's like, I've been to your markets and I wondered if you'd be interested in me coming down there. And I was like, heck yeah. So then, like, people are just hanging out at this guy's tent. He's so cool. He's like chatty as heck, more chatty than me, actually. And, you know, he's like showing us his knives and all this stuff. And it's just cool to have that diversity of like things that interest more than just one demographic of people, you know, like a knife guy. Like I'd love to see an archer come out, or like leather makers. Like we were looking for that, you know, just trying to find different dynamics within our market that of makers. It's like some cool girl or guy out there just making stuff and nobody knows.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I like how you said micro business, because I feel like you'll find often that micro businesses will grow into full-on businesses. And it's cool that you give them an outlet to do that. And especially on a Sunday in town where there's nothing to do, I think that's pretty key, because Californians, Ohioans, whatever it is, we come here and the whole not doing anything on Sunday is completely abnormal. And I mean, we started doing the podcast on Sunday, one, because it was a free day, but two, it was like, well, what else are we going to do on Sundays?
Exactly.
We might have to come and hang out at the market.
Heck yeah, guys.
Well, that's funny because I'm always working on Sunday while you're here.
Yeah. See, we're doing something. We're all
open
productive.
on Sunday.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. So graphic design, what did you want to do with that?
Okay. So I actually am already doing something with that. I know, too many hats, but
I don't know. I disagree. I think a lot of hats is a good thing.
it can be.
Yeah.
But
if you can handle it, right? Yeah.
The stamina is the thing. So I actually am working on a graphic novel with a Californian. I know, but she's
We're
writing.
taking over here.
Yeah, she doesn't live out here yet.
Not yet. Keyword yet.
I mentioned it to her. No, I'm just kidding. But no, she's writing like a futuristic graphic novel. It's kind of hush hush, but and I'm doing a lot of the character building for her for that, and that's what I do with my graphic degree is that, and I actually make logos and websites and like design work with that. So
that's what I went to school for too. So I find it interesting.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that has helped me out more in business than anything else, because I've been able to get to market faster rather than waiting on, someone else to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But when I went to school for it, I just knew I loved Adobe. And so I was like, oh, then, this makes sense. I don't know what's going to come of it, but this makes sense. And I got my degree in it, and I was like, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I went to, I transitioned to fire science. So I got my associates in graphics and then transitioned to fire science and eventually transitioned to business communications.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't understand how big of an impact graphic design would have on my future.
Yeah, it's a huge, like, so I'll have people reach out and offer to help me with marketing, which is totally fine. Totally understand. I would love to like keep growing with that. But it was interesting, being able to just like get it up and going within 3 weeks.
Right.
Because I had that like background. Like I can make the flyers. I already know how to make the logos. I can, network, and then, just like paying for advertisements and stuff is kind of just like the secondary thing to do. But, that's huge for businesses, just having like a logo that people see and they're like, I know that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really hard for people who don't have a graphic design background because they don't know what they want.
Yep.
And sometimes I'm letting people know, like, hey, you're going to have to live on Pinterest and Google Images and find something that's similar to what you like, but in a different font and a different color. So.
That's a good way to put it, though. Well, and what I love about graphic design is like everything in here, from the Husky box to the signs to the chair over there, everything in our world has graphic design in it.
It does.
And that was like the first thing I learned in school was that simple concept. And it was like, man, yeah, I guess you're right. Everybody needs it. Everybody uses it. That's really cool. So I imagine you do that for your skincare products as well. You do all the branding for it.
I do. So I actually do quite a lot of sustainability efforts where I can. So I actually work with there's like a lot of like parent groups around, and I work with them to try to recycle a lot of the glass that they have.
Huh.
And I use a lot of that to, and I do small batch products. So we don't do like a big,
Right.
large scale, but try to work on sustainability efforts with like reusing as much material as we can and repurposing. One, that helps keep down the cost so that we don't have to charge everyone an arm and a leg per product. On top of that, that helps with, locals around, like if they're just giving it away and they're just going to throw it away, or they're selling it and they want to try to make some extra money because people are struggling. That's an opportunity for that small business or maybe a micro business that might need it, that I can get those materials to them. Or if my business could use them, then I use that towards my business. And we also make the packaging form. The packaging is handmade. Like it's hand cut, it's hand pressed, the stamps are handmade. I've just been trying to like keep it to that scale because I feel like that is more of a connection with your audience and with your customers than, and it's no shade against like people who have to buy that stuff. Not everyone's going to want to do all that, but it seemed important to me at the time to try to hand make as much as I possibly can to get people to ask those questions. Like, how did you make this? I have a business. I want to know how to make that. And I'm like, oh, sure. Yeah. These are all the steps I did. There is no point in gatekeeping because no idea is original idea.
Amen. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So do you have your you have your skincare? Am I saying that? Do you have your booth at your market?
I do. Yeah. So I try to keep it more about the other vendors, but I do bring my products. I set up a table. And I also run the farm stand that we do. It's called a garden stand, but I run that as well. But I always encourage, if there is like a farmer who, because a lot of them aren't available on Sunday, which is totally understandable, which is why I'll go and, just help them out directly, bring the products in. But I run that and my products, but I try to focus it more on everyone else. So if you've ever been to our markets, you'll always see me just like walking in circles and checking on everyone. Anybody need water? Kids okay? Do they need stickers? Like, just checking on everyone. And some vendors will give some stuff like, oh, I have these snacks, and I'm like, thanks, but this is a huge bag. Let's pass it out to all the vendors so they can try it. And sometimes they'll say, hey, these snacks are so good. Whose booth are these from? And then they'll go and buy something from, and networking together and chatting with each other. And I want to build it to where like the vendors are friends with each other.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll see you at the next one, guy.
Yeah.
Like where they're all networking and building that community environment where no one is thinking that this is a competition. And when we set up the markets, we make it to where there isn't an oversaturation of each, type category, product. And I communicate with the ones that have something similar. I'm like, hey guys, you two have something similar. Why don't you bring this version of your product and you bring this version? That way customers will come through and they don't feel like they're seeing like 20 sourdough starter vendors or like, 30 knife guys. So we try to make it to where there's like a diverse amount of products available, but each market we can transition people like, hey, you're going out of town. We're going to bring someone else in your spot. Are you cool with that? Like we just keep that communication going. No one feels discouraged per se. And like we can keep it to where we have people returning and want to see us, That's cool.
So it sounds like it's more about the people than the business.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really big about just like, what do you need? I'll come help you. Like, oh, you don't have a tent? Let's get a backup tent from this other side and let's set you up with one, just.
What do you think made you that way?
Gosh.
Because it sounds like you're very giving, like you're willing to just give as much as you can.
Huh. I want to say being the youngest sibling. Like all of my siblings always had like unmet needs. And then I would just come out of the woodworks like, okay, I'll help.
Interesting,
just like weaselly little sibling. Like I'll help. I'll carry that. I'll do that. Or my grandma would, everyone would be ignoring my grandma in the kitchen during like Thanksgiving and hanging out and stuff because they're like teenagers. There's a little 7-year-old me like, yeah, grandma, I'll help wash the dishes. Yeah,
the best little helpers. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet I was so annoying. They're just like, oh man, she's showing us up, and I'm like, I'm just helping.
Yeah. But that's cool because it molded you into who you are today. Hey,
For sure.
Blake, it'd be so cool, I think, if we went and did this at the market.
Absolutely. I was ready to think of that.
Yeah, were you? Okay.
Yeah, we
And then
could
we
do
awesome.
could we could like highlight
live.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, we could do a dino show or whatever.
Heck yeah.
That'd be cool. And
That
then
would
we-
be cool.
Yeah, we could have your husband on. We could have the whole gang, and then a bunch of
Cycle
stuff
through the
moving
different
in the
vendors,
background.
yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be neat. See, that's what I like about this because originally this show started for the purpose of highlighting our business, and then we always look for ways to give back to the community, especially other small businesses. We want to see the ones that are family owned, family ran.
Yeah.
We want them to win more than we want a corporation to win.
Yes.
So I think that would be really cool if we went out and did something like that. Maybe we even get Mike out there.
I was going to say David will be back.
Mike's our hermit. He hides.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Mike's got to work every Sunday.
Yeah, that's true.
Who's going to carry the boats?
I love that. So, what do you think is your favorite part about doing the market? I'm so fascinated because it started so fast and sounds like kind of out of the blue.
Yeah.
But they say that success is really driven by how fast you move.
Yes, it is. I feel like, gosh, everyone's smile. Like walking past and they just look so happy to be there. Like sometimes it's kind of hot. Like it's like, almost noon and it's people got beads of sweat. And I just go up and they're just like so freaking happy to be there. They're just like, this is my first market. Like this is the first time I brought my products out to sell. And they're just like taking pictures and they're happy. And I do product reviews for them.
oh wow.
Like if they have like snacks or like purses or whatever they're selling, I'll review it. I'll mountaintops.
love that.
Mountaintops. Like there was a girl who came out and she was selling, like, I actually have one of her products.
Yes, shameless plug. Give it.
She was selling these so I just got some chickens and she was selling these and I was like, I can't walk past her thing without getting that dang on chicken.
Can you hold it up again?
Oh yeah. So she makes these crocheted keychains.
That's cute.
And it's called Canilico. And I was telling her, I was sitting at her booth and I was like, dude, you're going to have to tell everyone you sell these. And she's like, okay. Like she was like, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I'll tell everyone. She was posting her stuff. There was people coming out of the woodworks. Like, you make roses? You make this? Like, I want that. You make purses? Like they were just coming out of the woodworks, ordering chicken keychains.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And she was just like, eating it up. She was having a good time. And I was just like, dude, like I remember that was her first market with us. There were so many kids walking around cheesing with their big plushies and stuff that she had made.
Yeah, I
and
bet.
Heck yeah. And we had other vendors there who were selling stuff and you could see people just carrying it around like it was the gift of the year.
That is awesome.
It's the smiles. It's the like,
How do
I
you
had a
spell
good
her?
time.
Sorry to interrupt. How do you spell her?
It's
thing?
Keni. I'm gonna butcher it. Oh man. Let me just look it up real quick.
Yeah, let's look it up.
Yeah.
Plug it.
Like I have her logo in my head. We talked about logos.
Yeah.
I have her logo in my head, but yeah, she was such a nice person. And I was just like, oh man, everyone has to know you make these keychains, and let me just find her. Oh,
Yeah, and it can be like an Instagram page or something we can plug.
she does have Instagram. It's KENILLACO. And her name is Kenzie.
Kenzie, awesome.
Yeah, she's super cool.
Canilico.
Canelico.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's just at Canilico on
Yeah.
Instagram. Cool. We'll plug that in that content.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then you guys have a page for the farmers market?
Yeah, it's called Southern Utah, all spelled out, no STG. Southern Utah Funday Market.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where do you see the market going in the next year? What's your goal or what's your vision with it?
I think I have two possible ideas. One is just like moving it to a bigger like playing field. I would love to get like FS Coffee and maybe Maharaja, because I know Maharaja hinted at that they might do a food truck. I'd love to just like have them just like at each event and like, you know, St. George Academy. I know it's a Sunday and it's an academy, so it's a school, but like them just like, you know, having like a little booth or something there where we just have like a big location, like closer into town where we know people will be able to make it quickly. And, you know, maybe they come out of church and they're like, okay, I'm out of church. We already had breakfast and it's 11:30. Like, let's go to that market real quick.
Let's go do something. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go do something productive real quick for an hour or 30 minutes. And, I'm hoping that it grows to where there's like classes that we can regularly offer. People could sign up for just like a painting class, or there was a girl who reached out and wanted to do a cricket class, like offer a cricket class.
Crazy.
And we get enough like going with that where we can offer those classes and people have something to do for 1 to 2 hours. Eventually maybe having like a storefront where that's like a station where not only can we display regularly.
So it's like a co-op. It would be like a co-op
Exactly.
storefront. That would be so. I love co-ops, especially with like farmers market co-ops.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool to have a bunch of different people's products within a store.
Yeah. And I think that would be great for just like a centralized location for it, you know?
Absolutely. Especially in a
always
town
find
like
it.
this, because I feel like people, and I know it was different in California. I feel like there was community, but it's not like it is here.
No, yeah, for sure.
You'd agree, right?
Yeah, they have like swap meets.
Yeah.
But the swap meet would always be at the exact same places each time,
Yeah.
like drive-in movie theater or something like that.
Yeah, and they were huge.
Yeah.
They were massive.
I mean, I enjoyed going to them, but they felt very selfish.
Yeah, it was more like, how much can I get from that person?
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I completely agree with that. I think it's just like the dynamic of that area. It doesn't happen like that here as much. Like
Yeah.
you come out here and like if you were like, oh, I really want to get that, but I'm like $3 short. Anyways, thanks. No, don't worry about it. That person will probably run after you and be like, hey, don't worry about
Yeah.
it, dude. Here you go.
Yeah.
I remember having to do that for a customer once. She was paying with Venmo, or she didn't have Venmo. She was trying to pay with like one of those like tap to pay things, and it wasn't working. So we asked another vendor like, "Oh, can she test it on your thing, and I'll just buy something from you?" It didn't work, and I was like, "You know what? Here you go. Enjoy
Awesome.
the soap. Enjoy the just." And she was just like with her mom, and they're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm just like, "You guys tried. Like, you tried to buy it, I'm like. Yeah, I get that you can't run an entire business off of generosity, but there's just those moments where you're just like, nah, I sold enough today. You're good. Just here you go.
I mean, we do it all the time, but when we work
Not
for
on purpose.
yeah, Mike loves it. Mike would work for free if he could.
Not on Sunday though.
Not on Sunday. No, yeah, definitely not on Sunday.
I did last night, but
Yeah. But that's what I think is great about small business, because I know the company we came from, if we did something like that, we'd get in trouble for it. Even though they're making money hand over fist, we definitely get in trouble for it.
well, and you do kind of anytime you get in a situation where somebody's like we'll get people all the time. Well, can I get this discount? Can I get that discount? And then they're trying to do this and they're trying to get your price down. And sometimes you can just feel it's not because they're cheap or they're trying to get the best deal. It's they can't afford it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
need
There's
it,
something
yeah.
going on, and you kind of feel it, and it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you give stuff away or because you feel like they need it,
Yeah.
but with your big companies, like, well, why didn't you charge them? They have money; they'll find ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like make them call their sister.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
They have a credit card. Everybody has a credit card.
It's kind of crazy if you think about it, because then those bigger businesses will offer like 20% off for the next, just to kind of crunch those numbers. But you're like, but I could have gave it to that guy last week. It was 20% off.
And had a customer for life.
Yeah.
Right? Like you'll have someone. That's what I love about it, is the people. I know the people we help, they'll call us back no matter what, because we were willing to help. Whether they're in good or bad times, they'll call us back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's good.
Yeah. So what are the hours of the market?
So right now for the summer months, it's 8 to 1 p.m. As it gets darker, we'll probably adjust that. Just nobody's trying to be out there at 6 a.m. setting up
Yeah.
a tent in the dark. But yeah, we're doing 8 to 1. It's just a good hours. We actually started it from 10 to 3 p.m. because I figured and suggested to everyone, just like, people don't really come out of the woodworks till about 11 sometimes. There's people who come out earlier than that, but we got a ton of awesome feedback from people who are just like, hey, I think that moving the hours up is a good idea, just like 1 hour. And I said, you know what? Let's make it 2 hours, guys. Let's move it up 2 hours. And honestly, everyone was happy with that. They were cool. Yeah.
And you found success with it?
Oh, yeah. Moving the hours up gave everyone a little breathing room. Like once they set up all their stuff, there isn't just like a huge crowd of people just like standing there and waiting for them to put their tent up at, 10:05 or whatever. So it gives them some extra time to do that. And I know one of our vendors, she's awesome. Her name's Tasia. Actually, there's one called Tacy and one called Tasia. Tasia runs Southern Sourdough, and she has this really nice stand she sets up. It's like layers and layers of like wood and burlap and stuff, and she's setting it up, and sometimes she's doing it by herself, and I know she loves that extra time, the extra few minutes, put all those buns out, because as soon as it starts, they're running over to her little station like, I need my sourdough bread. I need it. How much is this? I want cookies. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I'm sure she appreciates that.
So you said you got chickens. Did this whole market start like changing? Because once you get chickens, you go to sourdough and you go to plant your own food. And
listen, I was whole mess. The reason I moved here, because this is so silly. When I was younger, I used to read this book called Boxcar Children. I was obsessed with this book. And it was like these kids were living in this boxcar and they were like trying to be resourceful and do their own thing. And like, I was just down for it. I remember writing my own Boxcar Children books. Yikes. So the older I got, the more I was like, I want to see land. Like, I want to I want a farmer's market. Like, I want to see, just like people selling eggs and bread and all of that. And I actually learned how to make a lot of stuff in that time, that short little childhood time I had. And I learned how to make sourdough, of course, but I wasn't really selling it. I only recently started selling it, but I always let my sourdough people have the spotlight. But if they're not here, they at least have a backup.
Nice. That's smart.
And I let them know that too. Like, hey, I played backup for you this week. My arms are tired, but you got this. So I learned how to make sourdough. I learned how to make kombucha. I do grow plants. I grow onions, tomatoes. And the last step to that trifecta was honestly animals, like chickens, or if I could, I'd have cows, but
maybe that's the next step, right?
Yeah.
Someday.
I already mentioned it to my husband, and he gave me a big old eye roll, but he was excited about me being on a podcast.
Was he? Oh, awesome.
Yeah, he's obsessed with podcasts.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I love our community, and I want to highlight the people in it. So I do have a question. How'd you get into soaps? Did this go along with like the natural making things, or?
Yeah. So I used to obsessively buy soap.
Just like, different kinds?
From everyone. I still do it even though I make soap. You make goat soap? I don't make goat soap. I have to get that soap from you. I have like drawers full. Like, who needs clothes? I have soap.
Nice.
So I loved the soap making process. Like, I know it's like 4 weeks to cure and you got to wear goggles, but I was really into science. So like, this was just one step in the right direction for me. And I got into soap making, and I still support other soap makers. Like, I'll still like people making tallow soap. I don't make tallow soap. There's a tallow soap person over there though. Go plug them. Like, get this guy. And I used to just do it for myself. Like, that's kind of where all of my stuff came from. I would do it for myself until I had like so much of it that I was like, does anyone want to buy this? I have way too much. And one of my customers was like, you make shea butter soap, but where's the shea butter at? And I was like, you're right. I should probably just sell shea butter too. So I formulated some products for that. And then that's when I kind of got into the community about like recycling efforts and like reusing glass and things like that. And I was surprised by how much glass people were hoarding, by the way. Like, bottles and bottles and like baby bottles or like
Jars. Yeah.
just like drinking out of them, but then having like 12 and they only drink out of one of them. So we were doing a lot of that, or just like buying large quantities of glass that people just didn't know what to do with and they didn't want to throw it away. And we're all in a society where we care about the environment enough to be like, this is worth something. Why would I put it in the trash?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and we just kind of just kept going with that. And honestly, like soap making, like if I could just make soap, I would just make soap. But I also want to keep, you know, diversity within things. And so when my sourdough girl's not here, okay, I'm baking this week, you know, and I have all my proper certifications and stuff. So it's like no big deal to them, but I let them know like, this is your ballpark. I'm making soap.
Yeah.
I'm going to be making soap this week.
But that's smart of you to take advantage of it, see the opportunity and attack it. I feel like a lot of people would see that there's a gap and just let there be a gap.
Yeah, I think you lose out on your audience by not taking a little bit of a sacrifice for them. And you also miss out on your vendors, because then they're like, well, no one cares that sourdough wasn't there. And I'm like, oh, yeah, they did. Because I had to make 20 loaves and they're all gone.
And they're all gone.
I didn't take any home with me. You know?
Those 20 people cared.
Those 20 people were looking for you. They weren't looking for me. I was supplementary. They need you to be here.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so smart. So what we normally do when we end these is we ask for what's the one piece of advice you would give to an entrepreneur, or just in life in general. What would be the advice that you would give to somebody if you could? Anything. Could be anything.
There's a lot more support out there for you than you think.
Wow. Just have to ask.
You don't even have to ask sometimes. They're there. They're talking. They're ready for you. If you think someone's trying to compete with you, don't worry about that. Worry about the people who want to support you. Worry about that guy who said your stuff was cool, or that girl who bought 12 bottles of something and gave your business card out to everyone. That's who you want to give attention to. Don't worry about the negative. Worry about the people who are ready to support you.
Dang, that's powerful. Thanks. I got chills.
Cool.
You can use that on anything. I mean, we use it in our business all the time.
Heck yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think it's neat in communities, the people that show up for each other. You find out really quick who shows up for each other and who doesn't. I think that's something special you guys are building. Okay, so let's plug you. Southern Utah Funday Market, right? You guys are on Facebook, Instagram.
We're on Facebook. Instagram is Better Love Co. And Facebook is also Better Love Co.
Better Love Co. And they can find all your products there and all the information they need.
They sure can.
I love that. So please reach out to her. We'll definitely be talking to you about doing a show out there so we can highlight everybody. I think that'd be really cool.
Awesome.
And in the meantime, you can find us on Instagram at Dino Service Pros, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube for our podcast. Our website's www.dinoservicepros.com. Or you could call us at 435-236-4568. And love you. Bye.